If you see side-by-side red lights flashing at a railroad crossing, you must A. Signal before going any further. B. Maintain your speed and cross the railroad. C. Slow down. D. Stop. D. Stop. If a railroad crossing has side-by-side red lights that are flashing, you must stop. If you need to drive in foggy weather, A. Turn on your low-beam headlights. B. Turn on your hazard lights. C. It is okay to drive at the maximum speed limit. D. Do not drive at a speed above 10 miles per hour. A. Turn on your low-beam headlights. You are required to use your headlights during the day when visibility is reduced to 500 feet or less. When you first turn on your headlights, be sure they are adjusted to the low beam setting. Using high beams in fog or rain will cause the light to reflect back into your eyes, lowering visibility even more. A first conviction for driving under the influence of alcohol or any drug can result in license suspension for at least. Fill in the blank. If you refuse to take a breath test. A. 30 days. B. 90 days. C. 1 year. D. 2 years. C. 1 year. If you are arrested for driving while impaired for the first time in 7 years, your license will be suspended for 90 days. If it is your first arrest and you refuse to take a breath test, your license will be revoked for 1 year. An end school zone sign indicates A. That the speed limit is 20 miles per hour. B. The beginning of a reduced speed zone. C. The increased possibility of encountering pedestrians. D. The end of a reduced speed zone. D. The end of a reduced speed zone. Do not exceed the school zone speed limit during indicated times. The end of a reduced speed school zone will be indicated by an end school zone regulatory sign.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
On the freeway, you see a merging traffic sign. You should A. Honk at incoming traffic. B. Always remain at your present speed. C. Speed up to avoid congesting traffic. D. Move to another lane, if safe, to let traffic enter. D. Move to another lane, if safe, to let traffic enter. When on a roadway with 2 or more lanes, you should make room for entering vehicles. If there is no one driving next to you, move over 1 lane. If 2 drivers arrive at the same time to an open intersection, A. The driver on the right has the right of way. B. The driver on the left has the right of way. C. One driver may continue driving without stopping. D. One driver should honk to indicate that they are giving up the right of way. A. The driver on the right has the right of way. If you arrive to an open intersection at the same time as a vehicle to your right, you should yield the right of way to that vehicle. You may then proceed when it is safe to do so. Texting while driving is A. Always legal, but not recommended. B. Illegal. C. A safe activity. D. Legal if the driver is using voice-to-text technology. B. Illegal. In Washington state, it is against the law to text and drive. Texting is a dangerous distraction from driving, and doing so while operating a vehicle may result in a citation. When driving on major highways. A. Stay alert. B. Keep your eyes moving. C. Be ready to react to road hazards. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. It is important to stay alert on highways and be ready to react to unexpected hazards. To avoid highway hypnosis, you should avoid looking at any one thing for more than a few seconds. Alcohol causes A. Loss of concentration. B. Poor coordination. C. Slower judgment. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Consuming even a small amount of alcohol will impair your vision, judgment, concentration, and coordination. To safely pass a bicycle, you should A. Honk at the bicyclist to let them know you're trying to pass. B. Drive in the bicycle lane until you get a chance to pass. C. Slow down and give them as much space as possible. D. Rush ahead to pull in front of the bicyclist. C. Slow down and give them as much space as possible. When passing a bicyclist, slow down and give them as much space as you can. Bicyclists have much less protection than drivers of motor vehicles, and they should not be crowded. Passing a bicycle too quickly can shift the bicyclist off course. When approaching a railroad crossing, you should A. Slow down. B. Look for a train. C. Be ready to stop. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When you see any signs indicating a nearby railroad crossing, you should slow down, look for a train, and be ready to stop. If the red warning lights are flashing or the gate is down, you must stop 15 to 50 feet before the railroad tracks. Do not try to go around the gate. You are approaching a railroad crossing and you do not see or hear a train. You must stop. A. If a stop sign is posted. B. If a crossing gate is lowered. C. If the crossing lights are flashing. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You must always stop before crossing railroad tracks if flashing red lights are activated, a crossing gate is lowered, a stop sign is posted, a flagger signals you to stop, or a train is visible or so close to the crossing that it would be hazardous to continue driving. If you are unsure if a train is too close for you to safely cross the tracks, stop. Never race a train. The most effective thing you can do to reduce your risk of being injured or killed in a traffic crash is to A. Wear your seat belt. B. Limit your driving to weekdays. C. Stay in the right lane on multi-lane highways. D. Limit your driving to hours between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. A. Wear your seat belt. Wearing your seat belt is the single most effective thing you can do to reduce your risk of death or injury while driving. This sign means A. Stop sign ahead. B. Lane closed ahead. C. Railroad crossing ahead. D. Traffic signal ahead. D. Traffic signal ahead. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This warning sign indicates that a traffic signal is ahead and drivers should prepare to react to a yellow or red light. This sign means A. Crossroad ahead. B. Flagger ahead. C. Lane ends. D. Turn right or go straight. A. Crossroad ahead. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to an upcoming intersection. You may cross double solid yellow lines. A. To pass a slow-moving truck. B. To turn into a driveway. C. To pass another car. D. Under no conditions. B. To turn into a driveway. Double solid lines indicate that you may not pass or change lanes. You cannot cross the lines unless it is to turn left to enter or exit a highway, to turn into or from a driveway, or to make a U-turn where permitted. This sign means A. Watch for bicycles. B. Bicycles not allowed. C. Bicycle repair shop ahead. D. Bicycles have the right of way. A. Watch for bicycles. This sign provides advance warning that bicycles may be present. Downward-facing triangular signs. A. Indicate school zones. B. Tell drivers to yield. C. Indicate construction zones. D. Indicate railroad crossings. B. Tell drivers to yield. Downward-facing triangular signs usually indicate that drivers should yield. Once the road is clear of traffic or pedestrians and it is safe to do so, drivers may proceed. If a transit vehicle is signaling to re-enter the main roadway following a stop, you must A. Honk to let them know you're there. B. Move to the left lane. C. Yield. D. Speed up to pass. C. Yield. You must yield to any transit vehicle that is signaling to pull back onto the main roadway after it has stopped to load or unload passengers. Change lanes, slow down, or stop to allow the bus safe re-entry into traffic. When driving in traffic, it is safest to A. Fluctuate your speed to keep alert. B. Drive faster than the flow of traffic. C. Drive slower than the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. Crashes often happen when some drivers go faster or slower than other vehicles on the road. Always try to drive with the flow of traffic, within the posted speed limit. This sign means A. Pedestrians walking along the road ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Pedestrians must not cross here. D. Be alert for construction workers on the road. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. This sign indicates the presence of a pedestrian crossing. Drivers should be cautious when driving where pedestrians may be present. When passing another vehicle on a road with two lanes traveling in opposite directions, you should A. Return to the driving lane when there's enough room between you and the vehicle you passed. B. Remain in the left lane if you intend to turn left. C. Return to the right side of the roadway immediately. D. Drive in either lane. A. Return to the driving lane when there's enough room between you and the vehicle you passed. When passing another vehicle on a two-lane roadway, you must return to the right side of the roadway when there is enough room between you and the vehicle you have passed. This sign means A. All traffic must turn. B. Turn right at the intersection. C. Parking area ahead. D. Crossroad ahead. Watch for traffic. D. Crossroad ahead. Watch for traffic. This sign warns of the presence of a crossroad ahead. When a school bus is stopped off the road without flashing lights, you should A. Stop until the bus moves on, regardless of which side of the road you're on. B. Stop until the bus driver signals for you to go. C. Stop only if you're on the same side of the road as the bus. D. Use caution as you pass the bus, since you're not required to stop. D. Use caution as you pass the bus, since you're not required to stop. You must stop for a school bus that is stopped with its red lights flashing, whether it is on your side of the road, the opposite side of the road, or at an intersection you are approaching. If a bus is stopped without its lights flashing or its stop arm extended, drivers may pass with caution. When you need to change lanes, it is important to A. Signal your intentions ahead of the lane change. B. Check your blind spot. C. Make sure the lane is clear before entering. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Always signal for an appropriate amount of time before making a lane change or exiting a freeway. Before you make any move to the right or left, quickly turn your head and look over your shoulder to see if your blind spot is clear.